Okay, hi. How you guys doing today? This is Miss Nikki. Um, my YouTube channel is Miss Nikki's Will Tell It Like It Is. And literally, I don't know what it is about this moment or this subject or whatever I'm about to come. I had to literally start this video over 3 times, but hopefully, I'm praying that God is with me right now to tell this. And you know what I'm saying? The subject I'm about to bring you is to be careful with the spirit world. For some reason, every time I try to start it or I was talking, I would push a button or something by mistake or whatever. But I got it right this time. So I'm not a professional YouTuber. I don't know what that is. I just can only be me. So right now, I'm coming to you about this subject that has been bothering me. And the reason why it has been bothering me, because in real life, and in on YouTube, I see a lot of people making videos about um you know the paranormal and the what I'm saying you know um the poltergeists and things of that sort, or what they catch on video. And I watch them. And I watch a lot of paranormal videos and stuff. My son and I, we are into it. He's into it mainly because of me and because of the things that I told him that I've been through in real life. Now, I'm coming to you with this subject is because of the simple fact that I know what I'm talking about. Now, the number one thing that I'm going to tell you is that no human being has power over the devil. Number one, when you see someone or you see a video and stuff, and you see these sorcerers and these witchcraft and these conjurers and things of that sort, when you see them saying that, you know what I'm saying, I command thee, blah, 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 all this other stuff, that is not real. That is a lie. The devil knows it's a lie, and God knows it's a lie. And guess who else knows it's a lie? Me. Why? Because I'm one of the ones that hold on for a sec. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. This is part two. I had something I had to take care of, but I don't know where I left off at, but I'm gonna say part two to this video. The one thing, I've been through and have been through the some things that what they call the paranormal, or what they're like that. Like I said, I see a lot of videos on YouTube, and like I said, some of them they're real, some of them are fake, and some of them I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. One thing like I said before in the part one, before I had to pause it or whatever, is no one has power over the spirit world. Period. Good or evil. And when you see sorcerers and witchcraft workers, they're talking about, well, I have the power and the spell book and all this other stuff to control the spirits and call upon them and stuff like that. You know what? Let me tell you something. And I'm about to, say people that are in the dark and people that are atheists and people that are, I don't know, I'm skeptic and everything like that. Let me tell you something that may help you, shed a little light on things that you have questions about. No human being can, no human being has control over a spirit. Let me explain to you. First of all, these unclean spirits that we call paranormal, poltergeist, they are real. But the person that, the spirit that made them is God. And some people say, oh, how could God make something so evil? They was not always evil. That's the point. They were not always evil. They were once angels in heaven. And a lot of you guys know the story, how Lucifer and 1/3 of the angels, and we don't know how many of those angels that, well, 1/3, we don't know how many angels up there to say it was 1/3. So 1/3 of whatever number it was angels in heaven decide to get stupid and try to go against God and say, well, Lucifer, the story, we got Lucifer wanted to see if he could overthrow God, the one that made him. I don't know how he thought that through, but whatever it is, he was thrown out of heaven with 1/3 of the angels. Now they are called demons, devils, Satan. Okay. Now, how do you think, as a human, think that you have control over something that is so much more powerful than you? They were made by the one true God in heaven, which is almighty, all powerful, only one that can control them, only one that can say, go, don't do this, stop, go back where you came from. The one that has complete control over everything. Whether you want to believe that or not, like some people say, I don't believe that one person. First of all, God is not a person. He is a spirit. God is a spirit. And you cannot have control over something that you did not make. You don't know how to control something that you didn't make. Like, for an example, you can control your TV because your smart TV, you can set them. So you can control what you see, what apps you see, all this other stuff, because you got your smart TV set for what you like and what you want to, how you want to control it. Like your laptop, your notebook, your computers, everything. But you cannot and never have the power to control an unclean spirit. Like you say, you hear some people talking about, I got healing power. No, you don't. Only God has healing power. Okay? Get that out your head. When people say, I can heal you for $250. No. You just get them $250 and you go home with that same sickness. Only God can heal. Only God can curse. No human being can curse you. And I know they said, what about the black magic, the voodoo, and all this other stuff? But first of all, you got to believe in it to, like they said, in order for it to work. That's called a manipulation. Because at the end of the day, I'm standing on it because I am a true believer of God. God is the only one that can heal. God is the only one that can curse. Period. No, when a person said, I curse the day you were born, or I curse you and I throw a spell on you, or whatever, they can go get them books and all this other stuff, and you may feel that you're cursed or whatever, this or whatever, but no, that stuff ain't real. I'm going to tell you right now, some people say, I'm cursed. I can't get, some people out there believe more into this thing because they don't know any better, and I get that. Okay, now, if you listen to my video, which I hope you do, you know what I'm saying? That stuff don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? That Louisiana stuff, God is way more powerful than any curse, any book, anything that you think the devil has written or has written. I have seen videos where they said there are books out there that are so demonic and so bad until the devil himself wrote it. And because people have prayed to Satan and asked him to write this book. Do I believe? Absolutely. I believe that those books that do exist or whatever. But my thing is this: why would you try to read something so demonic and so messed up? Then get the Bible a try. You know what I'm saying? That Bible, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. But back to what I'm saying is this: now that I done cleared your mind on who rules and super rules. Number two, some of y'all play with the spirit world. I can see it as though I'm looking out the window. Some of y'all play with the spirit world. I see a lot of YouTube channels where people are playing with the spirit world, calling on Bloody Mary and Charlie and all this other stuff. I remember when the kids came home and they was like, Mom, they playing Charlie at school. And I was like, what is Charlie like? You know, me, I'm going to tell you something right now. Miss Nikki, do not play around with God or the devil. I don't play because I know what I know. And I know that there's nothing to be played with. I've seen people play with this entity, or try to play with the spirits and all this other stuff. And it does backfire on you. It does. The first thing an evil spirit would do is make you think it's friendly. It always appears as a child. Everything that the devil do, he marks. He marks God and what he has done and the wonders that God has done. He will mark everything, or mostly everything that God do, because he don't like God. He don't like him, but he gotta respect him. He got to obey him, because the devil only obeys God. That's the only being power that only God in his word that has power over him. He can't do no more than what God allows him to do. Now, he makes you think that he's your friend. You play with that Ouija board. You sitting up there calling on Charlie, Bloody Mary, all these other things or whatever. You play with these things and you think, oh, it's my friend. It's a little kid or whatever. He appear that way until you say, I don't want to play anymore. Or you stop playing with him, or you don't have time for him. He's going to make sure that you have time for him. He's going to start reversing, getting angry, all this other stuff. I seen this in real life. Now, you're going to say, how do you know all this? I bet you're getting this from some YouTuber or all this other stuff. No, honey, let me explain something to you. My mother, she's been gone this month on the 17th, which is going to be April the 17th. My mom been passed away 8 years ago. I was a little girl. A lot of the events and things that I'm talking about right now, a lot of things that have happened to me, which I'm going to share a lot of things with you throughout me, uploading videos and stuff, is going to be about, like I said earlier, if you didn't go back and see the couple of videos, the few videos that I did do, a lot of things that I share with you is from personal experience. It's not what Bob or all them other people have said. This is something that Miss Nikki has experienced personally, real, no joke, don't play, no. My mother, when we was living in Chicago, my mother, for some odd reason, she have always had, what you call that? She always has something, she told me, she always had something around her that was sinister. That was very, very scary. We didn't know what it was, because at that time we didn't know anything about church. We didn't anything, because church don't have that. That's another story. Trust me, what I'm about to tell you, it's like, sometimes I don't like talking about it because it just sends chills up and down my spine. But this needs to be said. Someone needs to hear this. A lot of people need to hear this. My mother, for some reason, decided to dilly-dab into the dark side. All of a sudden, my mother woke up one day and she decided to paint her room all black. When I say black, I mean jet black, like jet black. And then she was like, yeah, she started throwing glitter all over her walls. All over her walls. It was glitter. What they call today the glitter bomb. It was like my mom just threw glitter all over the wall. So her whole room, she painted her room jet black. That wasn't even enough. My mother decided to go out and buy these very, very demonic posters. And when I say demonic, I'm talking about these posters, they glow with the forensic red light. It's a red light bulb she put up in that room. And now today I know for a fact the devil himself, the devil spoke to her and told her how to decorate that room. My mother started changing strangely. But the thing was, my mother was always strange all her life. Even before I was born, she used to tell me of things that she seen that no one else seen. People she seen, spirits that she seen, no one else seen. And she said it started at 2 years old when her grandfather passed away. So I'm like, okay, now imagine me. I'm 5. My mother had 6 kids. She had 2 before me and she had 3 after me. Okay, so I'm 5 years old. The earliest I remember my mom going through strange things, if I'm not mistaken, was 4. I am 42 today. And I can tell you, like it was yesterday, how I would notice my mom start changing. And one of the reasons why at that time I was not going to school, my mother was tormented every night. And people think torment is not real. Yes, it is. This is real as me looking at you on this video with this blue wrap around my head, my black glasses, and my pink shirt. It is real. I started seeing, and I didn't understand it then because I was a little child. Everything started coming to me when I became an adult, but it didn't come to me until God started opening up my eyes. At that time, I was blind to everything. All I knew as a child was I was very petrified of my mother. And the one thing that made me really scared of her, Lord knows I could remember this. Like, she said one day my mother was just sitting in a chair. And at the time we lived in Chicago, Illinois, and we lived in the projects, Rockwell. Now, a lot of people, that's my age, if you know about Chicago, you know about the South Side, 117 South Rockwell, they're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, I remember those projects. We lived on the 11th floor, okay? So we was high up there. So, you know what I'm saying? My mother was just sitting there one day. We was all just sitting around on the floor and stuff because my mother never let us go outside. We couldn't do anything without our mother giving us consent. We almost couldn't even breathe without our permission. For some reason, I thought that she was just real close on her kids because she loved her kids so much. No, my mother had, she always had the word I'm trying to say, I could see the word, but I can't say it. She always had this thing around her, like I said, a sinister thing that followed her from a child coming up. And we were very, very scared. I noticed that my mom was in a lot of horror movies. And you know, a lot of people like horror movies. I like horror movies. I love horror movies. I really do. And I'm a horror fan. I'm a real true life. I'm a documentary. And my son said, Mom, you watch a lot of different things on YouTube. Yeah, because a lot of things that they're saying on YouTube, I went through that. Or I remember hearing certain things that would click a memory and be like, oh, when I was younger, I couldn't understand it. I do now. So it was like, okay, my mother was sitting in a chair one day. And by this time, I was 5 years old. I remember my kindergarten teacher name. Her name was Miss Small. And she was very, very light-skinned, with a little bit past shoulder-length hair. So one day we were sitting around my mom. My mom just bust out. It was just her and her children. And she just bust out and said this. She said, the train is going to jump off the track. And it's going to hit the school. And y'all going to have to vacate the school. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know. I just know it's going to jump off the track. We all stopped as children at this point and looked at my mom, and a chill came over me that I could not tell my sisters and brothers. And come to find out, when we became an adult, we all said, yeah, we felt that same chill. We lived in constant paranormal fear because of my mother. Let me go on. So we was like, okay, I was 5 years old. I love my mother with all my heart. I did. I love my mother with unconditional love. So, but I was scared. I was 5. So the next day, we went to school like we normally do. Everybody in all the projects over in Rockwell, we all went to the same school. The school was named Mary Mape Dodge School. It went from kindergarten, K-5, all the way to the 8th grade. That I kind of found out the other day. I looked that school up online in Chicago. It no longer exists. They shut the school down. So I'm like, okay. I'm sitting in kindergarten, sitting at the table, like all the rest of the kids. We hear a big boom, and it shook the very foundation of the school. When I say shook, literally like an earthquake came through and shook. The school was huge. Like I said, it was from K-5 to 8th grade. So next thing we know, we're here on the intercom, vacate the school right now because part of the school is on fire. We all vacate the school. Parents was being contacted once we got to the other school. It was another school nearby, so we all had to leave. And it was hundreds and hundreds of kids there. And we was all running out the school. The school was on fire. Part of the school was on fire. The one that was close to the what? Sugar factory and the train track. What happened? They called the parents and stuff. And my mom had a baby. I'm going to see. I was in K-5. So that means that my brother that was under me, he was the baby. at the time. He was, yeah, he was no, he was already born. My mother had, I think my sister was the baby. And so we running out to school. We run out, we run out to school and stuff. And they called the parents. Now, my mother never knew this. When my mother came to the school to pick us up, I really didn't want to go back with her because my mom had just said the day before that the train was going to jump off the track. It was like she went into a trance when she said that. And she just came out and said that. Why would you say that to kids? We were little. I was 5. So my brother was like 2, 3 years old, and I had a sister. I think she was either pregnant with her or she had her. And she would say something like that. And I was like, oh my God, do we go home? Listen to the news. The train jumped off the track, hit the sugar factory, set that on fire, and then hit part of our school. How do you think I felt as a 5-year-old? I was a toddler. Last year, my toddler years, I was petrified of my mother. We were all scared of my mom. All scared. That day since, I never felt the exact same about her. Now, I always loved my mother, never stopped loving her. But that right there shook me to the core at 5 years old. I never forgot it. So we all thought my mother was a witch. It's official. We all agreed she was a witch. Why? My mother was the first caller ID we ever had. And I knew, now that I know today, I said, this is not, I don't know if, now my mom did have a gift. She had a gift. She could see things before it happened and stuff. It is not, no, and I'm finna hit this right now. It's not called ESP. She wasn't a psychic. It was a gift because some of my family members have it. We can see things before it happened. It's just a gift. A lot of people have this gift. But my mom used to say things. We used to be sitting there, once again, kids, like, dude, let us be a kid. It was not meant, whatever I went through as a child coming up, whatever, I seen, it was for a reason. And my mom used to sit there and she'd be like, oh, the phone finna ring. We like, okay, here we go again. And she said it's going to be Marie. Marie was her mother, my grandmother. And we looked at her like, and she would pick up the phone and say, hey, Mom. She never called her mother Marie. She would call her Marie when she wasn't around. But even though they was on real bad terms, my mother always gave my grandmother that respect and call her mom, even though, that's another story. She didn't raise her, but she still gave her that respect because, they was in that era. So she would call, and my grandmother would like, how you know it was me? She said, I don't know. I just knew it was you. I'm like, okay. That was just coincidence, I thought. Where everybody would think that at 5, 6, 7, I didn't know what coincidence was. I was just scared of her. I just knew at this point, I was like, man, I think we need to get away from her, get rid of her or something out of love. Not kill her, just let her go bye-bye somewhere. No, I don't know. I was a kid. So it became more frequent. She would say things before it happened. I'm talking about not it would come like, okay, the phone would ring again. Oh, this is Miss Jones. Now, Miss Jones was my sister and their grandmother. We were like, how she know that? Hey, Miss Jones, how you doing? Miss Jones be like, how you know it was me? She said, I don't know. I just knew. So we was like, oh, snap. Now, here we go. One day, the person we knew as a father, we was not my biological father, but I've been knowing him ever since I was like a year and a half, or something like that. And he was in the Marines. And war, they was about to go to war. Something happened. They was going to get ready to go to war. So he called they always tell all the soldiers here, call home just in case you don't, anything happened. We all know what that means, just in case they don't make it back. Call home and, call your loved ones, period. So he decided to call my mom because by this time he had a son. She had a son by him. So it's like, okay. And my mom was like, even though they had it on TV and everything, she said, okay, they about to go to war. They about to go to war. I think at the time Ronald Reagan was president. That's how old I am. I'm older than that because when I was born, Carter was president. But anyways, she was like, she told Greg, she said, Greg, y'all not going. He told my mom was saying, Paulette, he said, Paulette, we are ready to leave out. She said, no, you're not going. It's going to be called off. He said, I'm telling you goodbye now and let you know we about to head out or whatever. And we're finna get ready and go and fight. She said, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to be called off. He was like, okay, well, I guess they could continue the conversation. More likely, he's saying, well, just in case they don't, and you're wrong or whatever. Probably in his head, he was thinking that he was like, I'm calling to let you know if anything happened. Blah, 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 I guess I love you. Blah, blah, this. They exchanged words. Right after that, for some reason, news, boom, they called it off. And he called back, said, how did you know? She said, I don't know. I just knew. Oh, the level of fear of my mom went to at that time, times 3, and that was real heavy for a kid because things had just started happening that I didn't understand. Now, my mom started diddle-dalling, and she bought this book called The Book of Spirits. I never forget it. The book was black. I didn't know about that stuff then or whatever like I know now. Not because I read the book, because I've seen people with the books in real life and once again on YouTube and on TV and stuff. And the Book of Spirits is one of the most innocent books, and that's very dangerous. And I've heard of other books. But my mom had the Book of Spirits. She decided to want to go in with my older sister and let's go buy this spirit book. Okay. She started doing the spells in the book. Now this is when things turn from bad to worse, from scary to, okay, we should not ever be bad around this woman again. Because this is beyond, I'm going to beat you. This is like, okay, she might just throw a spell on us, or we might turn into a frog, or I didn't know what might happen to us, because now my mom went to a whole nother level. And at that time, let me just say this. The reason why I would never forget this name. It was a very famous psychic back then in the 80s. This is the early 80s, 70s, 80s, where they call her Jessica Black. I don't know if that's her biological name or that's just a psychic name that she went by. They told my mother was getting to the point to where she had became either so good at this or so bad at this until they told her, why don't you go into business? You will put Jessica Black out of business. That's how strong this thing or this whatever was using my mom got. And if I had not been there, I would have doubted it too. But this was a part of my life for a reason. She was my mom for a reason. Now, it got to the point once she started dealing into the book, she started, things start happening in the house. And here we go. My older sister loved to play schools. We used to our kids play school. So we had these little milk crates, and we used to have it as our little desk. We had real books that wasn't returned to school or whatever. And my older sister was the teacher and everything. And things that start happening in the house. And one of the things were this, my mom used to leave and go, whatever, grocery store, whatever the case may be. And she would leave my sister at home. Mind you, I told you, my sister was part of these, helping my mom with these spells or whatever. And you got to be very, very careful when someone tells you, let's do this, let's play with the Ouija board. If you find something already moving in your house, you don't see it, but it's moving on its own, which is not on its own, you just can't see it. Why would you go and confirm it with the Ouija board? That's like the dumbest thing ever. You're giving it strength. Let's confirm with the Ouija board to see who it is. I don't want to know who it is. I don't want to see it. I don't even care. I don't want to know his name. I don't want him responding. Whatever it is, it could, whatever. Leave me alone. I see people do that all the time. Let's get the Ouija board out. Oh my Lord, they opened up doors. Oh my God, they opened up doors. They opened up doors that you can't close. But you was up there, let's play with the Ouija board and give us the answer. Why you just can't say, Lord Jesus, what is this? Whatever it is, start praying to God and say, Lord Jesus, whatever this is, I don't want to hear, I don't want nothing in my house moving without me moving it or my kids or my husband. I just don't want that. Why would you want to Okay, anyways, it made me mad. But anyways, my mother would leave. My sister would play school. She the teacher, we the students. And she would close the bedroom doors, like she was pretending like she was school. So my sister started pretending like people was knocking on the door. Only person was there, I remember, my uncle. I had an uncle that was only 2 years older than my sister, my older sister. So he would come over a lot. So it would be me, my other brother, my oldest brother, my uncle, my older sister. And at this time, I think it was my baby brother or whatever. So all of a sudden, things would be like doors and stuff were opening and shutting on its own. Well, on its own, without a human touching it. When I say on its own. And then all of a sudden, we'll close the door to the bedroom because that's our schoolhouse. Boom, 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 boom. We'll hear a knock on the door. My mom is gone. We all in this room, so who could be knocking on this door? We don't know. My sister will open the door. Come on in. This is school. I'm looking like, okay, there's no one at that door. Who's knocking on that door? So she'll close it in. Whenever she opened up that door, whatever she let in, it came in the room. But mind you, we didn't know anything about God like that. We knew there was a God. There was only one. But we didn't know the details, the depths of what I know now. So she'll close the door again. It'll knock again. Do, 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 do. She'll come up. Oh, and she'll name the spirit like it was a student. I'm like, okay. Do this supposed to be happening right now? No. That was one incident. Then one day, my mom was at home. They were steady playing with the spirit book, all this other stuff. And my oldest brother used to have these real bad dreams. And when I say bad dreams, my brother used to jump out the top bunk. So scared. Until my mom and my stepdad at the time would have to catch him. He would scream, scream. Like, Mama, oh my God. I don't want to say my older sister's name. I would say, I'm going to call her sister. Sister is after me and trying to stab my private part with a fork, and have these dreams, these weird dreams start happening to my brother, to the point it was so bad until my brother used to have these real bad anxiety. Now I know it was anxiety attacks. He felt like he was having a heart attack. He used to always hold his chest. Things that got so bad in our home. I remember well, one day my mom came home. My mother was home, and she decided to play with the book or whatever. My mom, back then, they had phones that the only way they'll work, in the 80s, they did not have cell phones or whatever. If they did, they wasn't available to poor people. So we had about 2 phones in the house that you connect to the wall, landline phones. My mom used to unplug the landline phones. I don't know who told her to do this and who told her this may work. But my mom used to have these landline phones. And I'm sorry, y'all. My hat felt like it was slipping. And she used to she had these landline phones, and she used to unplug the phone from the wall and just have the regular phone. And they used to start ringing on their own. She had like 3 of them, I remember well. And these phones used to ring without being plugged up to the cord and being on the hook. They used to ring. I'm not lying. They'd be like, maybe it was no, I was wide awake. And my sister and my older sister and my mom used to answer these phones as though somebody was on the other end. And I'm looking at these phones as a kid. Like, I'm the 3rd oldest now. And I'm looking like, how's they doing this? How's they answering phones that are ringing and answering them like someone's on the other end? Things had got real bad from there. It got real bad. I said my testimony to say this. You're talking to a woman. You're listening to a woman. Sorry. You're listening to a woman that been through the spirit world, and it has not really stopped. It slowed down in different ways or whatever. But I had enough. I used to see alien heads. Mind you, we on the 11th floor. Just sit on our dresser. We were so scared. And it'd be the same night that my brother would be losing it. And I would pull the cover over my face. I said, this is not real. This is not real. The head was humongous. The big black eyes and everything. And people say, oh, I heard that story so many times. Believe it, because I'm I'm a victim. Or a witness or whatever. It didn't do anything. It was just sitting on my dresser. It was sitting on the dresser. And at that time, my older sister and I, we shared a bed in our bedroom. And it would look direct at me. Like, I would pull the cover over my head. And you know, us kids, we'll pull the cover, hoping it'll go away. So I pull the cover over my head and everything. And I'm like, I hope it go away. I will pull the cover. It was still there. I will pull the cover back over my head. And I'm like, it was there for a long time. So I used to just pull the cover over my head and I would cry. I was like, I don't know what's going down. My brother is losing it again and everything. And I'm seeing things. I used to see things and I used to always doubt them, like, no, this is not happening. But it was. And what made me a believer in what I seen, because I did see some testimonies on YouTube, on paranormal encounters and stuff, where they had some of the same exact testimonies as I did. Who opened the door to the things that we saw? My mom. She was the portal. She was the portal. My mom became more violent towards her children. Like, she used to beat them as though they stole. Well, my older sister was a thief, but she used to beat them as though she was trying to kill them. Now the spirit is turning on her. You know, it became like, because she done fed it for so long, it didn't leave her. You know what I'm saying? And everything. So we did this. And in 1985, my mother decided to move away from Chicago and move to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Things calmed down for a while. But then they started back up. Even after she started going to church or whatever, things started back up. And I noticed that my mom the sinister thing that followed her all her life never stopped following her until she died. And you're like, okay, she's in church and all this other stuff. Yeah, it didn't harm her, but it didn't stop following her. And years after my mother was in church, I would call her. One time I called her and I kept hearing this knocking in the back of her, in her background. And I'm like, Mom, I just call my mom all the time, especially when I was pregnant with my kids. I'm like, oh my God, I can't make it through a pregnancy without my mom, especially when I was pregnant with my first child. But one day I called my mother. And I was like, Mom, what is that sound? What's the knocking sound? She said, oh, that's an unclean spirit. And she was saying it as though it's normal. It was normal to her because she had been through it all her life. So when you go and you play, I know some of these shows talking about we're going to the paranormal activity place. Don't you know them things are following you back home? Don't you know you think oh yeah, we got power over it. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. And it vexed my very spirit when I see these shows and I know y'all playing. I know what you're going up against. You don't even know it. It may not even be happening to you right away, but it's going to happen. It's going to turn on you. If it already, because a lot of it has, these TV shows about chasing the paranormal, trying to find ghosts, and I want the ghost to talk to me. It done came back into your homes. You're not telling anybody because you want people to think, oh, this is awesome. But they don't see the torment that you're going through. But I know because my mom went through it and to the time, to almost to the time God took her home. I've heard one day my mother had a real thick glass table. It was very, very popular. Glass tables. Oh my God. I was waiting for that era to be over. The glass tables, everybody had them. Like, you go to everybody's house, they got that glass table. I'm like, oh, this is like deja vu. It was like I'm in the Twilight Zone because everybody had these tables. But the glass was very thick. The glass was anywhere between 70 and 100 pounds. So this is a very piece of thick glass to make it a table, right? One day I went over to my mother's house and I seen the glass table in her kitchen. And she said one night or whatever, she heard a long, eerie scratch. And she went into her kitchen and found the table. The scratch had to have been at least longer than 12 inches. And what makes it so bad, this is the funny part. A glass table stretched that long should have cracked, right? Wrong. This table was still intact. But the weird thing about it, this scratch was in the inside of the table, glass table. It was like between the bottom and the top on it, like the work was done on the inside of the table. And I'm like, Mom, like, how did this happen? What has happened? She said one night, she said it was one night or one day she was in her house and my mom lived alone. We all had moved out. We were all grown, had kids and everything. And she said, one day she heard it, long, like a cracking noise, like something was like, you know how ice, when the ice begin to crack or whatever, it make that, and then if you're standing on it to get out the way or whatever, or if you hear it, find out what it is. My mom said she heard it when she went in the kitchen. Her table was scratched. That scratch was in the table. And when I felt it, I seen it with my own eyes, and I wish I would have took a picture of it because I'm like, okay, if the scratch, and it was a scratch, it was cracking. It was a long crack in the glass, but it wasn't on the surface and it wasn't underneath. You couldn't feel the scratch. It was on the inside. And I said, Mom, I said, Mom, what's going on? I'm concerned about my mom. I was like, I would get my mom, and my mom, I don't know if she knew it or not, but my mom and I was very close in spirit. I very close. And that's another time. My mom and I was very close in spirit. And we could feel each other. He was in my spirit, and she was like, you were in mine too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to make a part 3, and come back, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna sum it up with a warning. Okay, hi, I'm back. I'm gonna sum this up with a warning. My mom and I was very close in spirit. I was very, very, I most definitely was a mama's child. And one day I'm gonna put up a picture on one of my videos or whatever and show you how much we look alike. We look a lot alike. Even people say to this day, it's like, my God, you look just like her and everything. So yeah, do I miss my mom? Absolutely. It was so bad when I first lost her in 2011. I went into a real bad depression. The definition of depression is something that consumes you and keep you down, and you don't know how to fight, or you don't have the strength to come out of it. That's a depression. And I was in it bad. It was affecting everything. My health. I was beating the bed literally for 2 years straight, you know what I'm saying? And I had to shake up out of it, and I left and I moved away from Milwaukee, Wisconsin 2 years after she passed away, and I moved to the East Coast, further east. And that's where I resigned today. Okay. What I'm about to tell you is this, and I'm dead serious. I'm serious. For you people that think it's cool, I don't care if you black, white, Hispanic, Native American, Indian. I don't care what race you are. I'm talking to everybody worldwide that dilly-dallies and dabs into the spirit world by books, Ouija boards, whatever way you do anything that's, you directly trying to conjure a spirit and it's not the word of God. I want you to stop if you can. Some of y'all are addicted to it because this spirit got you thinking that you have control. It'll do whatever you say do. Of course it will. It's a manipulator. It's the devil. That's one of his skills. Manipulation. Deceit. So, it gonna make you think, oh yeah, we cool. We cool. I'm gonna keep doing what you wanted to do until you don't want to do it anymore. What I'm saying is this: a lot of these shows that y'all watch that's paranormal, all this other stuff, a lot of them are fake. I can see right through them. Stop making up things to get a hit, to get a show. Stop. Because it's gonna turn on you. And it don't just turn on you. What you're doing is open up doors for your children and your children's children. Take it from me, because I'm one of those women that was once a girl that had a mother like that. And those spirits just don't follow the mom. It follows the children and children's children. Yes, it does. When you open that door, your kids are at your mercy. They don't know anything. They're innocent. You are their protector. You know what I'm saying? My mother didn't think before she started doing these things that it will follow the children and her children's children. She didn't think that. I went through things too. I sure did. I went through things too in my home. I done seen, I done went through some things to move, I done seen figures and all this other stuff. I done, you know what I'm saying, and everything. And I pray. And Lord Jesus, I learned from what my mother did. When I had my first daughter, my daughter was born, and all three of my daughters was born in October. And I had my daughter on the 3rd of October. I was really young, like 20. I had just turned 20. I was pregnant with her. I got pregnant with her at 19. So my friend decided to have a Halloween party. And Halloween was one of my fun favorite holidays. I never really liked Christmas. I only liked the Christmas when I was a little kid. But as I got older, I'm like, I don't like Christmas. I can't stand it. And so I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust my video. And so, my friend, I had just had, my daughter was 3 weeks old, like literally 3 weeks old. So my friend was like, oh, let's have a party. I'm gonna have a Halloween party. You gonna come? I said, sure. I'm young, so I bounced back from pregnancy very quickly. I had my 3-week-old baby over there. She had a son, and you know what I'm saying? My baby laid in a room and everything. I didn't do drinking and nothing like that, because I know I had just had a baby. So I'm like, okay, I gotta stay alert for my child. The Halloween party, I'm not gonna lie, it went well. And it was all different races. My friend that threw the party was white. We had all different races at the house. I'm very multicultural, not multicultural. I don't see color. Never have. I don't teach my kids to see color. We don't, everybody is my brother and my sister. You know what I'm saying? We all come from one blood, one body, and that's Adam and Eve. I don't care how dark you are, how light you are, how red you are, what color you are. Our mother and father is Adam and Eve. And you think I'm lying, go to Genesis. Now, with that being said, I've never been a racist person, but I would tell things the way it is. If I see somebody racial profiling or anything, I'll do that. But back to what I'm saying. So we had the party. I'm kicking it and everything. Then the night left. Everybody left and, went their way or whatever. It was kind of late. I lived right across the street. So I'm like, I'm finna go. First I was going to stay. I had my baby with me. I had their bottles and everything. So I was fine until she pulled out the Ouija board. Now, I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of the Ouija board. I just knew it was not good, and it was not good to play with the Ouija board, period. So when she said, oh, we finna play with the Ouija board, I said, wait, let me get my baby. Let me get my baby bag, and I'm finna go. No, I don't stay. They lit the candles off, the lights. I said, okay, y'all, if you can, have a good night. And I left with my 3-week-old baby. I goes across the street and I lay my baby in the crib, and I don't know. At the time I had a rosary, and kind of find out, I'm supposed to have these things, and I just, but to my knowledge, I needed to spiritually protect my child. So I laid her in the bassinet and laid her down and everything, and I put a rosary over her thing, and I went through the house. It was just my daughter and I at home at the time. And I went into the living room. I don't know what I went into the living room for. Can't think of it. Child, that's been 23 years ago. Don't ask me. I don't know. I think I went to go check around, because I always check my house. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything was straight or whatever. Next thing I know, my bathroom light just come on by itself. Boom. I was like, oh, what? Did something follow me home? That's the first thing I said. Not knowing the knowledge that I have today about things following you home and all this other stuff. I knew some stuff from when I was a little kid coming up, but I still hadn't put it all together. I'm 20 years old with a newborn. My focus was not on how bad the spirit world and stuff is, because, when I was a little kid, I watched Beyond the Doors and Exorcist and all this other stuff, but still, the light has not turned on yet. So I'm like, okay, I left the party. I left, the place. Why is my light coming on like this? And I noticed every year from that day, something would move or something in my house every October until like a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because you know why? I came into the knowledge of the truth, and God is starting to open up my eyes, and more I started putting God first in my life, and God is ahead of my life You know what I'm saying? No matter what going on and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to tell you where I live, not directly addressed. I live in the state of North Carolina. Oh, Lord. When they say this is one of the most haunted states in the U.S. on the East Coast, better believe it. It is. It is. You can feel things. You can see things. And but what I'm saying is this. I didn't ask for this life. I never asked to see anything, hear anything, but other human beings. I never said, Lord, I want all the gifts. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't want all the gifts. Be careful what you ask for. You ain't going to get them no way. You can't handle it. You can't handle it. But for you guys out there that's faking it, photoshopping stuff, one day it's going to become real to you. You're going to stop playing. And I hope it don't be too late and it consumes you. But if you feel that way, pray to the one that can control them, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. Because that's the only one that can tell him, all right, that's enough. He believed, or she believed now. Though you little gothic children, listen, baby, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Y'all watch these movies called The Craft and all this stuff. That's Hollywood. And even then, you got to be careful because come to find out, a lot of these horror movies that we call horror is actually true. My husband and I was watching a movie by Johnny Depp called The Ninth Gate. Now, I watched The Ninth Gate years ago. I was just watching it because it was horror. It was in the thriller horror section. I'm like, okay, cool. Come to find out, Ninth Gate is based on a true story. There are books out there that said the devil himself wrote or whatever. And it's about 9 books out there and everything. So I went back to watch The Ninth Gate again. And I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So get some knowledge. Ask God to, ask God. God will open up your eyes because he opened up mine. I tell my kids, listen, you see anybody messing with books that's not the Holy Bible and you don't get it, you don't understand it, and they got what's it called, a pentagram, and the devil with the horns and stuff, Baphomet, and all that stuff on there. I say, you leave. Don't even stay in the presence of those things. You run. I tell my kids about God because that's the only one that can protect them from things everything, all things. I'm a mom. We're natural protector, but we can't do what God do. What about when your kids, don't you know some of their teachers are devil worshippers? In North Carolina, they practice here like it's a bowl, like they eat breakfast. Oh, yeah. They'll tell you, we practice. We believe in the pagan gods. We believe in God too, don't get me wrong. The Bible says bitter and sweet water cannot come out at the same fountain. No, you can't believe in God and say, but I believe in the pagan God. No. I teach my kids, you get away from people like that. And I'm going to tell you how serious I am about this. It's one young lady, and I think I told this before, I'm not sure. Her cousin was doing yard work for me when I first bought my house. And I have a lot of land. And I was like, ooh. Sometimes when people come around me, I can just feel something just ain't right. And I know thousands of people feel this, and it had got so bad I stopped hanging around people to this day. I don't like any and everybody in my home. When she told me, I was looking at her tattoos. Now, many people have tattoos. Many. This woman had voodoo dolls tattooed over her body. Yeah, I got about 14 of them. They had the pins in them and everything. I'm like, and she said, I also collect them. I said, I'm going to have to get this little devil off my property. Oh, Jesus. It was like, oh, no. And then when she told me now, she said, like, yeah, I played with the Ouija board. The Ouija board told me there was a book under my house. I said, oh, no. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Her cousin came by again. He was a sweet young man. But I couldn't do it. In a lot of ways, he kept telling her to shut up. And he wouldn't be telling her to shut up if she didn't try to present this once before in front of him. So he was like, don't nobody want to hear that. Leave it alone. And she was like, if you want me to, I would come down here and put salt and sage around. I said, don't touch my house or my land. And the only time I want to see salt and sage is in my homemade dressing. You ain't finna throw nothing on my property. So when our cousin came down, he was going to lay some. I just didn't feel right. My spirit was literally disturbed until I had to tell him. It was like I was like, And she said it. She said when people find out that she worshiped the devil, because that's what you're doing. Ain't no cute way to say it. She worshiped the devil. They don't want to be friends right now. I said, well, you ain't got a friend in me either. I told her cousin to tell her, sorry, but she cannot come to my house anymore. No, she cannot come to my house no more. And I was like, oh my God, she couldn't tell her she can't come to my house anymore. If I find out that you ever play with the Ouija board, you cannot come to my house, because I know the dangers, and I know that these spirits, and I know the doors that can open. I cannot name these doors. I just know they're not doors that's supposed to be open or conjured. So when you hear, children, please listen to me, because I care about y'all. And you know what I'm saying? And the young lady told me, said, my mother practiced. So I get it from, we both practice. I said, oh, okay, well, you could practice down there at your house. I don't want you, because we can't eat, we can't break bread together. Because the Bible said, how can two walk together except they agree? See, I love the Lord. And the Lord, my God said, thou shalt have no other God before me. He meant that. God had been too good to me for me to sit there and eat and try. If I even see a Ouija board, I wouldn't even pick it up with my bare hands. Seriously, I would not pick it up with my bare hands. I would probably get some gloves, and then again, I'll probably get a broom and slide it. I wouldn't even touch a Ouija board with my bare hands, because spirits do carry with these boards, these books, and all this stuff. And once you just can't. Once, it's just like the Bible. When God started opening up my eyes about the word, I can't just put it down like that. It's in my spirit. It's like it's branded in my spirit. The word of God is branded in my spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way when you go and pick up that book about the devil, Baphomet, all this other stuff, and these books of witchcraft and stuff. You can't just put it down. It become an addiction. It become an addiction. Choose ye this day who you shall serve. I choose you, the one that can save my soul. And I'm telling you young people this, when y'all see people do, because it's real bad down here in the South. Nothing has changed but the buildings. But you got old generations of people that done taught their children, and they still practice it. It's just 2019. But the same thing spiritually and naturally goes on here. The same thing. It's for us. I'm a parent of 4 children. And I don't care what my kids do out there in that world. They'll do. My mama, oh no. My mama done told me stuff about when her mama used to do it. And my mama stay away. They tell you, no, I don't play around. I told my kids to get out of there. I don't care who they are, how nice they are, once you find out. Now, if you don't know that this person doing it, that's a different thing. But if God bring you to the knowledge that this person is dilly-dallying in that, you must have moved around, no longer talk to this person again, do nothing. So this is my cry, my plea to people that are playing around with the spirit world. It's nothing to be played with. God is nothing to be played with, because I'm going to also make a video about that too. I'm definitely going to, but this was really just hit me because every time I turn on YouTube, I see, and I know some of this stuff is fake, but I know some of it is real. Some of it is real. Some of it is real, but some of it is fake. And y'all be, oh God. And then the YouTube, y'all want it for fan base and stuff. But you got to know, you got to go home and you got to sleep at night. You know what I'm saying? And this thing gonna consume you. Don't even know it's consuming you until you gonna come back and be like, oh, I just start feeling things and hearing things and doing this and doing that. Now, some people go through supernatural things in their house, what you want to call supernatural, spiritual, or poltergeist situations, and they don't even believe in it. They atheists. They don't believe in God or the devil. A lot of people that go through and they record what's going on in their house, and they didn't even ask for it. They didn't even know anything about it, had no knowledge of it. They probably heard people say things about it, and they be like, no, well, whatever. I'm not going to put no energy into that. But it still happened to them. Now, those are the ones I'm like, okay, yeah. So that don't mean you don't have to necessarily, be in it or practice. Sometimes it just happens. It could be somebody that used to live there before you in that house practice. And sometimes all spirits don't leave with the one that conjured them. They really don't. They'll stay with that house. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, that's why you need God in your life. You need God as a fence all around you. Because you don't know. God protect us from the seen and the unseen 24 hours a day. When you're asleep, when you're awake. God do that. God do this all the time. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm a living witness to both. What I'm raised in and what I'm into now. My mama did put, you know what I'm saying, told us about God and stuff. She always loved the Lord. She just didn't know how to be on God's side till years later. But before she became on God's side, it was a lot of damage done. A lot of damage done. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that this video, I talk a lot when I do talk, but that's okay though. It's my page. You ain't got to like and subscribe. You could just look at it, view it. But I hope it helps somebody, because when I come to you about stuff and stuff be laid on my heart to come on my page and say this and say that, I hope I'm talking to somebody that feel like they can't get out. And you want to listen to the word of God, and I say this, and I'm going to say this. I would love for y'all to listen to Pastor Gino Jennings. His headquarters is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. God most definitely used this man. If he didn't, trust me, I would have told you. But I feel it because some things that he bring up, I think he's directly talking to me, but they don't be him, they be the Holy Ghost, which is God, the Holy Spirit, all of them, one. That's the same one. So, with this, I'm going to say visit www.truthofgod.com and open your ears, open your heart, and listen to the word of the Lord. And he'll bring you out of that situation. He'll bring you out. I'm signing off. And I'm going to say, if you like it, like and subscribe. If you don't, I love you guys. I don't know you, but I love you with the love of God. Y'all be blessed. If you don't have God first, let him be head of your life and keep him first. Stay blessed.